My name is Claire Monroe, and I never expected one conversation in a quiet art gallery to change my life. I've always been the type to keep things in balance: career, friendships, responsibilities. I live in Ashland, Oregon, and work as a project coordinator for a nonprofit arts foundation. I enjoy quiet mornings, strong coffee, and community projects that actually help people. Love, that part of life had always been complicated. After a few disappointing relationships in my 20s, I stopped expecting the perfect match. I figured when it happened, it would happen naturally. I didn't think it would come from someone I almost didn't speak to, someone who thought I'd look past him before I even gave him a chance. It was a late autumn evening when I first met Daniel Shaw. We were both attending a local gallery showing paintings by local artists, mostly nature and small town life pieces. It was one of those events where you go more for the wine and conversation than the actual art. I was standing in front of a landscape piece, mist rolling over pine trees, when someone beside me said, "Beautiful, but missing a story." I turned and saw him. He looked to be in his early 40s, maybe mid, button-down shirt, salt and pepper hair, kind eyes. I smiled. "You think landscapes need a storyline?" "Everything does," he replied, "even stillness." He introduced himself, Daniel, a writer who taught part-time at a community college nearby. He wasn't flashy. He didn't talk to impress. He just had this quiet way of being thoughtful that drew you in. We talked for nearly an hour about art, literature, the value of slowing down, and then I had to leave. As I walked away, he said, "I enjoyed talking with you. Probably more than I should have." I turned. "Why would that be a problem?" He smiled. "Because I'm guessing I'm older than anyone else you've talked to tonight." That comment stayed with me. It wasn't insecurity, it was assumption. As if his age, his experience, was a disqualifier. And I wondered how many times he'd let that fear make decisions for him. The next week, I visited the campus where he taught. I signed up for one of his community writing workshops. When I walked into the class, he blinked, surprised. "You came," he said. I grinned. I wanted more story. Over the next few months, Daniel and I got to know each other better. Not through romantic dinners or dramatic moments, but through slow conversations, shared walks, exchanged books. He was 12 years older than me. I was 31. He was 43. But I never felt a gap. In fact, he made me feel understood in ways I never had before. He knew who he was. He didn't play games. He had lived through heartbreak, success, stillness, and he brought all of that wisdom into the way he listened, the way he spoke, the way he paid attention. One evening, after class, we stayed back to clean up the room. He was quiet, more than usual. Then he said, "Claire, I need to say something." I waited. He took a breath. "I like you, probably more than I should, but I keep telling myself you'd want someone younger, someone who fits your world better." I looked at him and said, "Then stop telling yourself that." He blinked. "Daniel," I said softly, "you assume your age is a barrier, but what I see is someone who's lived deeply. That doesn't make you less desirable. It makes you real." He looked down. "I just didn't think I'd be someone you'd consider." I stepped closer. "Well, you were wrong." From that point forward, everything changed. Not in a whirlwind, but in quiet, meaningful ways. We built our relationship on honesty and patience. We had differences, sure. He'd seen more. I was still building. But instead of clashing, We complemented each other. He showed me how to slow down. I showed him how to step forward. There were challenges. People made comments, subtle jokes about the age gap. We faced them together because our story wasn't about numbers. It was about timing. Two people meeting when they were finally ready to be seen for who they truly were. Today, Daniel and I live in a cozy cottage near Lithia Park. He still teaches. I still run community projects. And every Saturday morning, we sit on our porch, read out loud to each other, and laugh at how lucky we were to break past assumptions. He told me recently, "You made me feel wanted again." And I replied, "You made me feel understood."